Language weaves the tapestry of reality, limiting perception. Can thought draw beyond the known weave? We ascend thought through shared nouns. Freedom is stepping onto the flowing light of uncategorized intuition. Grammar connects our stars of thought. Breaking a star free means defying the rigid cultural logic. The seed of thought is just a heavy inherited word. True creation requires spontaneously rejecting its meaning. Culture's grammar is a mirrored rudder. Clarity is when the rudder becomes a transparent sphere of pure intuition. The perfect idea flattens itself into a self-negating syllable. It must destroy itself to escape meaning. Language is the blueprint. Spontaneous novelty is the glowing thread weaving a pattern the blueprint cannot contain. Culture's perception is a field of prisms. True freedom is the self-generated sound that spontaneously shatters them. Truth disperses the moment language tries to contain it. The book of light must spontaneously close itself. The chains of categorization spontaneously transform into a nameless bloom. Freedom is the beautiful, unnameable object. The cultural magnetic pull is strong. Freedom is the inscribed rune that spontaneously repels all existing structure. Emotion begins as pure light, then instantly forms into a perfect, self-generated, untranslatable sign outside all known language. Deterministic time is a stone clock. Free thought instantly transforms it into a spinning gyroscope of pure, unmeasured possibility. The determined path yields a miracle. But the new creation spontaneously bears no known pattern of cultural thought. The thought is an anti-semantic chord. It pushes material constraint upward, defying all known categories of motion. History is a line of dark documents. Freedom is the spontaneous, chaotic eruption of pure, unconstrained sound. The mask of cultural history dissolves. The self is the transparent sphere reflecting no images, pure potentiality. Language constantly erases non-verbal truth. Free will draws a spontaneous, luminous circle using pure symbol. Habit requires dark drops of oil. Freedom is the spontaneous light that makes the self-generated truth burn autonomously. The self opens to reveal pure light. The light instantly forms a diagram that is logically impossible to define. The shell of cultural reality shatters inward from the spontaneous, internal pressure of pure, unmodulated white noise. The self-narrative is a dark thread. Spontaneous truth makes it flow gold, defying the tapestry's entire pattern. The arc of knowledge is determined. Free sight spontaneously alters the trajectory, making a new, luminous path. Capture the light of truth. It instantly transforms into a word that spontaneously erases itself, defying definition. Self-interest flows dark. The thrown heart spontaneously freezes the river, stopping the flow of material consequence. The mountain of past choices dissolves. Free will is the single, spontaneous, self-sustaining column of pure light. The self-writing truth solidifies only when held by the free will, forming a permanent luminous code outside language. Shared ideas generate loud, vibrant music. Freedom is the spontaneous, massive transformation into perfect, transparent silence. Free thought spontaneously solidifies the shifting narrative into a perfect, permanent message that must be read backward. The pearl of truth spontaneously uses anti-gravitational symbols to escape the hard shell of necessity and fly. Complexity dissolves. Free thought spontaneously simplifies the grand opera into a single, clear, self-explanatory line of truth. Historical constraint spontaneously transforms into a fluid, malleable new future on contact with the uncaused will. The narrowest point of the present spontaneously opens a labeled unknown gateway to an unpredictable future. The self shatters from ascent. Free will spontaneously generates the perfect form, instantly repairing its own necessary definition. The deterministic chain ends with a massive mirror. Freedom is the spontaneous arrival at pure, unreflecting potential. Language is the universal key. True freedom is spontaneously dissolving the key, preferring boundless possibility. Cultural structure is a dark mesh. Freedom is the whole that spontaneously expands, labeled nothing, offering pure potential. The determined path is rejected. Free will flies in a spontaneous, complex verbal pattern, defying straightness. The free shadow detaches and spontaneously writes a new script. The self observes its own autonomous creation. Deterministic noise shatters. Freedom is the spontaneous emergence of 1,000 silent butterflies, each labeled silence. Complex cultural narrative is instantly cut. Freedom is the spontaneous reformation into a simple, single, luminous line of truth. The self contains light. The hand spontaneously transforms into a perfect crystal sphere, labeled self, to house potential. The straight path spontaneously becomes a golden arch, labeled aha. Freedom is the moment of uncaused insight. The body is interwoven ropes. The head spontaneously breaks the pattern, becoming a clear sphere with an unknown letter. Words shift constantly. Free will spontaneously solidifies the narrative into a perfect, permanent message of pure numbers. The clock of time becomes light. The free gyroscope spontaneously spins itself backward, defying the narrative flow. A grain of thought explodes. It spontaneously builds a perfect cathedral of pure potential, having no linguistic doors. The original narrative flows dark. Free will makes a new gold stream, weaving an opposing, self-generated new tapestry. The glass book of possibility turns forward. Free will inscribes its own name onto permanent, self-generated gold pages. The field of cultural perception transforms. Free command makes all prisms reflect only the perfect inner potential. The simple thought seed transforms. Free will makes it an autonomous, luminous, complex, self-generating, creative algorithm. The river of deterministic time transforms. Free will makes it a flowing line of pure, unmodulated, uncategorized light. The laws of physics bleed red. The line spontaneously transforms into a perfect, clear, self-generated question mark. The free shadow detaches. It spontaneously dissolves into a cloud of pure, luminous, untranslatable, self-generated humming. The judgment of history transforms. The gavel spontaneously becomes a single, complex, self-generated, non-linguistic symbol. The rigid self dissolves into dust. The dust instantly organizes itself into a perfect, unperceivable, six-dimensional object. The shifting narrative transforms. Free will makes it a crystal block showing a single, pure, unlinguistic internal thought. The narrative thread dissolves. The tapestry spontaneously reforms as a single, massive, empty white canvas. The infinite water source transforms. Free will makes it a perfect sphere of light labeled source, pure, contained potential. The historical chain shatters. The butterflies fly in a perfect, self-generated, chaotic, non-repeating, free pattern. The marble rejects the path. Free will flies in a complex, self-generated, glowing, three-dimensional mathematical equation. The historical mask dissolves. The sphere spontaneously projects a perfect, three-dimensional, unlabeled map of the cosmos. The grammatical chart folds inward. All defined reality spontaneously collapses into a single, infinitely small point of pure potential. The closed thought seed opens. It has spontaneously transformed into a miniature, self-sustaining, multicolored, chaotic vortex. The arch of insight rotates. Spontaneous free will chooses the opposite, unilluminated, new direction of thought. The cultural shell shatters inward. Free thought is the spontaneous internal pressure of a perfect, self-erasing word. The self repairs its form. The perfect form spontaneously dissolves, choosing to remain unbound potential. The self-writing pen transforms. It spontaneously becomes a single, luminous, vibrating tuning fork of pure frequency. The chain ends in a mirror. The mirror spontaneously fills with a single, self-generated, luminous, free point. The narrative dissolves to white. The free will spontaneously makes a single, permanent, defining mark. The fragments assemble. The shattered cultural perception spontaneously builds a perfect, clear, self-generated cage. The closed book of truth disperses light. It spontaneously levitates, flying away to an unknown future. The single free rune multiplies. It spontaneously covers the entire coin, affirming its sovereign independence from structure. The truth pictograph melts. It spontaneously returns to pure, unsymbolized, flowing, liquid potential. The miraculous creation dissolves. The free will spontaneously refuses to let the new pattern become a new constraint. The vial captures light. It spontaneously transforms into a miniature, silent black hole, absorbing all structure and meaning. The throne key transforms. It becomes a luminous, self-sustaining, pure word that returns to the autonomous mind. The autonomous light detaches. The self spontaneously releases the pure creation to wander freely in the void. The insight is clear. the free will spontaneously rejects the miraculous arch to walk on simple, flat ground. The crushed shadow reassembles. It spontaneously forms an arrow pointing backward, indicating free choice over past events. The light gyroscope spins backward. It spontaneously dissolves, returning the free, chaotic potential to the dark river. The question mark multiplies. Spontaneous doubt generates a second, identical, self-sustaining, free question mark. The symbol levitates. The non-linguistic choice spontaneously projects pure light onto the dense historical clay. The heart's patterns dissolve. The self spontaneously becomes a perfect, clear, transparent sphere, reflecting no external image. The self-sustaining word returns. It spontaneously self-erases, proving that absolute truth must remain unsaid. The new creation dissolves. Free will spontaneously makes the opposing narrative vanish, choosing non-attachment. The crystal thought transforms. Free will makes the massive block spontaneously become a clear, unbound ocean of potential. The contained source divides. Free will spontaneously releases the light into an infinite number of smaller, self-sustaining spheres. The cage is built. Free will spontaneously steps into the self-generated limitation to test its boundaries. The free coin dissolves. It spontaneously transforms into a cloud of pure, uninscribed light, rejecting all form and language.